All right, we will then move on to consent. So we have several items. All items are considered routine or implementation at an earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless requested. Are there any items that council wants to have a separate vote on? Let's see, is there any item that council wants to have questions or additional information on?
Yes.
Councilmember Davis and Councilmember Mason.
Item 5D.
Sorry, 5D.
D is in, yeah.
D. Okay.
D is in dog.
Thank you. Councilmember Mason.
Yeah, I have a couple questions on A, C. D, Councilmember Davis already mentioned. E. And I.
Okay. Councilmember Medina.
Just a recognition of the resignation in the bike pedestrian.
Thank you. Okay, so why don't we we'll start from the top. Item A, accept accounts payable of October 12th and 19th, 2020. Councilmember Mason.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to ask about the services that are being offered by Peninsula Conflict Resolution Center and Star Vista. I wasn't sure if those are tied to, I know Star Vista offers some activities at the library, but it would be great to know what that money is going towards. Thank you.
Sure. Good afternoon, City Council, Jovan, Grogan, City Manager. With regard to that question, let's take the first one. So there's a $10,000 payment to Peninsula Conflict Resolution. The city contracts with Peninsula Conflict Resolution each year, and what they do on our behalf is they engage with typically neighbor-to-neighbor conflicts. Oftentimes, a code enforcement issue will trigger what is actually a private property issue between two neighbors. And the city is oftentimes is not the solution to that problem. And so we contract with Peninsula Conflict Resolution to meet with the two homeowners and help them work out a amicable resolution that hopefully does not involve neighbors suing each other. And so there are a number of members in the community that take advantage of that service each year. And it costs $10,000 for that. They also provide other mediation services to the city on a periodic basis and even some training, I believe. With regard to Star Vista, that is our annual contribution to Star Vista. I do not have the specific scope of work on what they provide to the city, but we can provide that to the city council in an off-agenda memo. And so, but that invoice was for $18,000. Unfortunately, I just don't have that handy right now.
Okay, that would be great to know. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. That's it for the questions on the warrant.
Thanks. Let's move on to item B, introduce newly appointed, what am I doing? Sorry. I went backwards. Item C, adopt resolution authorizing the city manager to accept and consent to the deeds or grants conveying a right-of-way or an easement for public use.
So, Mike, thank you for bringing this to our attention for a vote. My question is really around what is the scope of the authorization that we're providing to the city manager and thus giving up by the council? Are we just saying this is easier to handle procedurally? It's 10 hours of staff time per, I believe it was per request, something along those lines in the staff report, and we're just giving to the city manager? Or are there additional negotiating points that we're also giving to the city manager that we wouldn't be talking about publicly?
I'd be happy to answer that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Please, City Attorney.
Of course. So the short answer is that there's no authority being granted to the city manager that involves a grant of fee title to property. And the important thing about that is that the only authority that's given is, it's not because it's routine or it's less time consuming. That is a reason, but the main reason is that those grants of easements and rights of way are often not determined until after the project is already approved and the city council has already made its action on it. And so the authority is really just limited to those rights of way and access easements that end up being necessary because of how the project is configured. And these are situations in which the developer or the property owner is giving the city that easement or right of way, say for pedestrians or for cars to cross a driveway. We had one in the Aperture project where access was required to a disabled ramp. So these are things that really there's no policy question about, unlike a situation where there's an interest in fee title that the city is receiving. So that's the reason why we're recommending this.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure. Will that then, the decision made by the city manager, will it then trigger anything else on the that then becomes the responsibility of the city, such as maintenance, infrastructure, etc., by approving, one of these conveyances?
So to the extent that there is an easement for public access, then the answer could be yes. But that was public access that the city should be providing in the first place. So the only reason why we're getting it from the property owner is because we need to provide it. So it's really not creating any additional responsibility or liability that the city wouldn't ordinarily be assuming in the first place.
Okay, helpful. And just for the staff report does suggest one of the benefits is the staff time. And so that's why. So thank you.
Of course, that's true. And there is a benefit there. It's not the primary one. But it is important, and would be certainly recommending that the city council consider approving it.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay, not seeing any hands. I'm going to move on to item D, adopt resolution. Adopt a resolution of the city council approving the application for statewide park development and community revitalization program grant funds. Member Davis. Oh, was that you?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to check with the city attorney if I should be involved with this discussion, being that I live within 500 feet of the park.
Sorry, my video wasn't working. I apologize. Yes, that did not occur to us before when the agenda was posted. You can certainly indicate your recusal from that matter when the vote is taken. I think if there's only a question about it, you can certainly remain on the dais, assuming there's no discussion.
Okay, I'll wait. I think there's going to be a question, so I think there's going to be a discussion, so I probably should recuse myself now.
Fair enough.
All right. So I'm going to go leave the room. All right? All right.
Don't go too far. Okay, Councilmember Davis, I believe you asked for this item?
Yes, thank you so much. Well, thank you for bringing this forward, and thank you for, of course, as many projects we have submitted some grant requests for. I guess the fiscal impact is what kind of jumped out at me, where we're looking at an estimated cost of 1.7, which originally was 1.1. So what's the change in the increase by 600,000?
Through the chair, Audrey Jones-Taylor, good evening.
Good evening.
So I can't really tell you except for the contingencies and where we are right now. And so the 1.7 actually is what we are going to, we're going to be requesting 1.6 from the state of California Revitalization Program. And although the design has not changed significantly, but certainly over the last period of submitting the request, and things have changed. Not in terms of the design, but certainly in terms of the amount of contingencies that everyone is trying to cover now, including the COVID contingency. And so we're playing it more on the safe side than on than not. One of the other things I just want to bring to your attention is that although the deadline is on December the 14th, the grant award, if we are awarded, will not happen until the summer of 2021. And it'll probably take about 3 to anywhere 6 months for the award to actually be passed on to the city. So we're not really looking at being able to start and probably until the first of the year in 2022. So we are playing more on the safe side and ensuring that we do have enough money to cover the park.
Great, thank you so much.
Through the chair, if I can just expound upon that.
Please.
It's important to note that the project was defunded by 1.1 due to budget constraints, but at that time, the project was also underfunded. And so it wouldn't be fair to sort of say that the full cost increase is $600,000 from then to now. Because even at that time, there was not enough money in the fund to build the entire project. Just wanted to make that clarification so no one walks away with that impression.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, there was some sort of design issues that were originally approved, and then they had to come back and say, well, we need to, this isn't accurate, and we're going to need to do some additional things. So I'm assuming there's definitely a couple hundred in there for some of that. Thank you.
Councilmember Mason.
Yeah, so I know one of the priorities that was set was grants. So I want to first thank staff for applying for these grant funds. Since we don't have the money, it may be the best way to get Florida Park built. I did just want to ask if the grant, if it's possible that they're going to actually give partial money as opposed to the full grant, and what the possibilities of that happening are.
That's kind of hard to say. They certainly can. It's a choice of theirs. I do believe that since this project has been out there, and last round, round 3, San Bruno did a pretty good job. It was just a little bit more competitive. And I think the state has been really good about telling us where we were weak at. And so we're really working hard. So I don't see we're not promised. Nothing is promised to us, but I am looking forward to having the project totally funded.
Great, thank you.
But there is a possibility of, receiving partial funding. In that case, we also are, I am partially also looking at other opportunities in grant funding and partnerships.
Great. Yeah, Manager Grogan has been telling me that you've been working on this, Audrey, to make our application as competitive as possible for the last couple of months. So I really appreciate the work, and hopefully we get the money. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, let's bring Councilmember Medina back. Just appears. There we go. Okay. All right, let's move on to item E. Adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a general services agreement with Northern Services, Inc. for the police department HVAC replacement project in the amount of $198,050. There's also approving a construction contingency and approving a total budget in the amount of $227,050. Councilmember Mason.
Okay, great, thank you. So my question around this is really just around where the police is housed right now. I know that there have been discussions, and I don't know how cemented they are, but that it's possible the police may move at some point and need to find a new home. And so the reason I say that is because this is a substantial amount to invest if we're not sure what the future of that particular location is. And my understanding of HVAC systems is that they're not that cheap to move, and they're not that easy to move, especially if there's any bend in the wiring. So whoever would like to take that on would be great. Thank you.
Sure. Councilmember Mason, why don't I provide a response for that? What you're referring to is I think there has long been speculation that at some point there would be significant investment in Tan Fran to redo the rear entrance. And if you look at that rear entrance near the movie theater, it was enhanced. And there is a vision to have a different environment leading from the BART station into the mall. When this project was first talked about almost a year and a half now, we did approach the owners of the mall and ask them how far any potential investment in that area of the mall would be. The answer there is potentially 5 years away, even if they've begun today, given how long the entitlement process and construction process takes. In addition, the largest challenge with a plan to where the mall or some other property owner would relocate our police station is that we currently have approximately $9 million of debt on that facility that is paid for by our former redevelopment agency. So should someone want to relocate the police station, they would have to assume that $9 million of debt and potentially purchase land and or build us a new police station. And so you're increasing whatever that cost is by $9 million. And so will that happen in the future? Right, we don't know, but what we certainly know is that the roof has had significant leaks over the past few years and is in very much need of improvement, as well as our HVAC system. And so in the capital improvement budget for this year, the city council approved a project for the police station that includes both the HVAC replacement and the roof replacement. This is phase one of that project, replacing the HVAC. Could that, in a perfect world, is that only a 5-year investment? Potentially, I would say it's likely more of a 10+ year investment, given the amount of investment and renovations that would have to occur at that mall site for someone to undertake the expense of paying off the current debt and providing the city with a new police station.
Okay, very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. If nothing else, we will move on to item F. Accept resignation from Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee member effective October 14, 2020, and direct the city clerk to post notice of vacancies in accordance with state law. Medina.
I just wanted to, anytime we have a resignation, I think it's great that we just publicly state and thank them. So I'd like to thank Henry Marr for his service and wish him the best on whatever he's pursuing. So that's it.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item I, adopt a resolution appropriating $120,000 from the general fund for consulting and staff services to advance the work program of the Community and Economic Development Department.
I apologize. I actually just looked at my notes when I read the staff report, and I answered my own question. Thank you.
Okay, those are the best. All right, so we've gone through all of the items. We can do one motion with the caveat that Councilmember Medina will be recused from the one item, which was D.
E for dog.
Yep. So, thanks. Is it action by council?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Mason,
Aye.
Councilmember Medina,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar,
Aye.
Mayor Medina.
Aye. Okay, now, thank you.